Turn.
Doing good. Doing good. I'm off this week from
There you
work.
go.
Not from the pod, but from work. And
Yeah.
that's enough.
I mean, we can't give you a week off that matches up with your work schedule. Why
Mm-mm.
would we do that?
No. But it's all good.
Justin cracked
Staycation.
the whip on that one.
He did. He said, I
uh,
updated the calendar. Go take a look.
yeah.
You bum.
But I feel like it is a great week to go over MLS. I mean, we're in the heart of basketball tournament, but we also have, I would say, the less intriguing rounds. Feel like a lot of people have either fallen off or are just waiting for it to be later in the tournament. MLB does start tomorrow after the live version of this show.
I saw
Actually,
Netflix.
it starts tonight, but like if you don't have Netflix, it really starts tomorrow. Um, so that'll be interesting. But I mean, we didn't have a whole lot to talk about for MLB. NBA is meh. Football is not a thing right now. So
Soccer's
MLS it
all we got,
is.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
We are in an international break, though. So,
perfect timing gives us a little bit of a
yeah.
break, so no breaking news will come out and
Mm-hmm.
ruin this show. So we can give a what is it, week 5?
Week 5.
So
5 weeks in the book.
we can give a week 5 update as to what is going on around MLS and top storylines. Look at a couple teams and then get you all on with your day. So, Tones. I would say the number one team is pretty consistent with a typical top 5 team from the last 5 or so years. LAFC looking real strong right now.
They're they're looking absolutely suffocating.
Do you know how many goals they've given up this season in MLS play? Zilch.
0,
Yeah.
which is the longest streak in MLS history. The longest consecutive minutes without allowing a goal, which is that's not easy, you know? That is not easy to do.
Um, I mean, I'm tired of LA doing LA things and ruining
Yeah,
the top of all standings, but
with that money.
yeah. Um, number 2 in the rankings,
This
Nashville.
one surprised a lot
Yeah.
of people, I think.
By the way, we're doing MLS's rankings. We're not doing ESPN because they don't really care about other sports except for the ones they own. So,
You got to play hell just to even find where soccer's located on ESPN.
yeah. You
Just
have
in
to go
case
to the
y'all are
search bar.
looking. Yeah. You got to know the team name. That's the only way you get in.
You have to know their employer identification number. But Nashville.
Dude, Nashville's looking nasty. I've been watching MLS 360. It's kind of the whip around show that they do, and on Saturday nights, it's pumping, dude. They'll have like 5 or 6 matches on at a time, and you go to the team that just scored or had a key play. So I've seen a lot of Nashville. I mean they're kind of a they're going to be trouble from the East, from the East Conference perspective. They're really the only team that's going to give Inter Miami any issues. And in fact, they beat them in the Concacaf Champions Cup, so they sent them packing. But I mean, we know that they're going to face them again, probably 2 more times, but it could be even more than that. They're looking pretty nasty. I might actually get to go down to a game. I think FC Cincinnati plays them in August, late August. My buddy lives down in Nashville, so I'm gonna go check out a game. Kind of see what's going on down there.
Yeah.
Hopefully they've fallen apart by that point, but
Maybe they'll have like decent food or something.
yeah, yeah.
Speaking of Inter Miami's number 3. Uh, is Messi playing? Is he still hurt? What's going on there?
Yep. Yep. So he played. He's actually scored 4 goals so far this year. But you know, I don't know how many people have seen it, but you and I have talked about it. That bootleg ass call from the referee. So, imagine a soccer pitch, people, and then the penalty area. So, along that line, a goalie can't step over that line and touch the ball because that would be a handball. Unless you're Inter Miami, in which case that's exactly what happened.
Which
And
which the exact same thing happened a couple weeks ago to a different team, and it was called.
the inconsistency in the refereeing has been a constant issue in the MLS.
Do you think it's an American thing? Because like we have it with American football, MLB, NBA. Like it seems like every league has a refereeing issue, and it's like not where like it's ticky tack sometimes. It's like where it's starting to be very obvious in a lot of avenues. Where like yeah, you'll get that in like European soccer every now and then, but it feels a little less frequent.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you're always going to have like, jump ball calls where you're like, it could go either way, but like there is an actual truth to every call, right? Like it was either the right call or the wrong call. And, even this was 2 years ago, I think, the the refereeing association, they were on strike. So we used some backup referees from La Liga to cover. And so, I mean, that was kind of weird, but each league also has its different way of, how stringent they are on, the calls that they're making.
Yeah,
But
I just found out today in Sweden, coaches can throw the ball in if it goes to them. They can just throw it back onto the pitch. Not like a penalty or anything. Whereas like if an MLS coach did that, they would probably get a fine.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting times. I this year in week 5, there was like 5 or 6 red cards. So 13% of all of games included a red card, which is insane. And for those that don't know, 2 yellow cards and you get a red, and then you get booted out, and then you have to miss the next game too. So it's not like it's just one of those, they're playing down a man for the rest of the game. No, there's impact to how the team will perform next week too.
FC
So,
Cincinnati got a red card in the playoffs last year in a crucial moment of the game from a defender,
yep,
which was very impactful in that game, and went on to lose and got kicked out of the playoffs. So
yep. Matt Miazga with his pizza box walked into the refs' locker room, which is, some say that you shouldn't be doing that, but from my perspective, I think he was just
wanting an
he's
explanation. And
yeah, and he's a player that he plays with passion, so like you're gonna get some of that emotional volatility. At the same time, you gotta respect the rules, but yeah, I mean the red cards are seemingly getting a little out of control.
I
For
mean,
FC, I don't know that one wasn't clear and obvious. What would they call that? Preventing a obvious goal scoring opportunity, and it's
yeah,
an automatic red. But I don't know.
I think I think the MLS is trying to crack down a little bit, be a little bit more strict, and I think it's kind of what the league needed because they don't really have defense. When you're a good defender, usually you end up in Europe.
Yeah, that's a great point. And defenders are usually the ones that are getting carded because they're having to, slide tackle to get the ball. And, sometimes a ball looks pretty similar to a foot.
Yeah, you you could be that one dude who just like looked like he was gonna slide and just punched a dude in the face.
I did see that.
Yeah,
That is insane. And then he was like, "Oh, know
Yeah, he's
why you
like,
throw me out, bro. You sucker punched a guy
yeah,
in his head. Like,
yeah,
come on.
yeah, and
International soccer,
it's the
the
best.
wildest. I
Yeah,
saw a goalie going for a ball, and he bends down and then does a like a front flip and cleats the striker in the chest. I don't know what happened from there, but
not
I'm like,
AI either. It was legit.
yeah. I'm like, dude, this sport is it's nuts.
Yeah. Um, I think that one was Middle East.
I think you're right.
I think it
Yeah.
was like Saudi Arabia or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when it comes to MLS, one of the uh, complaints from non-fans is that there's no defense. It you I mean, if you just sit there and watch a match, you can clearly see that the talent in the league is the goal scorers, which is where the MLB is just pumping money into the league for. Like that's why Messi's here, Evander. There's a few others that could be playing elsewhere, but they're in MLS. So, I mean, they're I guess trying to crack down on the talent disparity there, but whatever. I guess back to our rankings list. Vancouver had that one kid last year.
Yeah.
How are they doing?
They're doing okay. I think they kind of picked up where they left off, right? And they played Inter Miami in the MLS Cup. So, I think they've I don't know that they lost any talent this year, but they seem to be kind of picking up where they left off. They got flushed out of the CONCACAF Champions Cup as well against Seattle, and then they just had their first MLS loss to San Jose. But overall, I'd say they're looking pretty solid. And it's so early in the season. One loss in the middle of the or in the first 5 weeks isn't going to cripple you.
I just love how MLS writes some of their stuff. So, and I'll get to that in a second. But San Diego, they're
San
fifth.
Diego,
They're killing it right now. But just listen to this first sentence from MLSsoccer.com. And yes, they didn't do MLS.com. They did Major League Soccer.com. San Diego aren't the first or last MLS team to visit Toluca and get whomped at 87,500 feet above sea level. I feel like that's solid writing, but it's like
most most
you'll hear
sports
that
altitude
once
isn't
and
an issue.
yeah.
Yeah, they I don't know. I've seen a little bit of San Diego. They're such a strong counter team, and they pull out the wildest passes to they're on defense. The team that they're playing gives up the ball, and then they counter it, taking it back to the goal, and so they call that the transition play. And they have a cat, and I'm blanking on his name. He's new to the league. He's actually kind of nasty. He's got the chops. He could be a demon in the MLS for a while. Let me see if I can. What's his name?
While you're going over that, I kind of the top five is pretty solid, but there's a couple teams behind them that kind of stick out to me. I mean, one team was just leading earlier this week. New York City FC. Very solid club. They were leading the East. They just took a 3-2 loss to Miami, and it kind of dropped them in the standings a little bit. But, I mean, they've had a kind of a run at the gauntlet lately. Their schedule's been a little bit tough.
Anders Dreyer is the guy, and that's the name I had on the tip of my tongue. But I didn't want to
Yeah.
call him like Andrew Dwifus or something. I don't know. You know.
Yeah. Andy Dwyer from Parks and
Yeah.
Rec.
Yep. Oh, Andy Dwyer for San Diego.
But what do you think about New York City FC?
I don't. They're kind of. Um, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of any of the New Yorks.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, the Red Bulls are, but
yeah, they have a new coach. They're working through that. You know, they went toe to toe with Miami, 3-2. Um, you know, looks like they always seem to sneak into the playoffs.
yeah,
So, and I will say it is pretty generous. To get into the playoffs. I think it's the top 8 teams, so that's half of the league. Half of the league gets in. So that's something to discuss at a later time. But it's I could see them sneaking into the playoffs again. I don't know that they'll really do anything. They don't have anybody that is just like, man, it's Andy
yeah,
Dwyer.
yeah.
They don't have one of them.
It's like you pick up FIFA and you just choose a random team, and then you're like, start winning, and everyone. I like to just take over random teams and start winning, but like, I like to think that my fans are like, wow, like there's nobody on this team that we can point out, but they're
Yeah,
good, you know.
yeah, yeah. How about we talk about our friends in the orange and blue?
Are they our friends though?
I don't know, dude.
They've been
I
pissing me
don't
off
know.
lately.
Oh man, it's been bad. It's been bad for the fan base. I think there's pressure on Pat Noonan, the coach. Um, they've had what, 13 goals scored against them
Yeah,
in the last 3 games.
14.
14. That's insane. That's nuts. That is called a breakdown.
Yeah,
Your defense is not there. And so, when we're looking at how our genesis and our journey through the MLS, we go from the USL into the MLS, get 3 consecutive worst teams in the league, what they call the wooden spoon. People are posting pictures that we're going to get the wooden spoon. I don't know that it's that bad, but it's not good. And, you know,
well,
I
to be
think,
fair, when they went from USL to MLS, they just sold off all the good players,
yeah,
built a giant pool of money, and then finally they were just like, "Oh yeah, we got a lot of money. Let's spend it."
yeah. Those early days were kind of weird.
Yeah,
Like, there was some weird
it's like
talent.
when you're moving up like that, you got to keep a couple of people, like maybe sell them off slowly, but bring in maybe younger, cheaper talent. Some guys that haven't been found yet, you know.
Well, it's so weird because St. Louis had this crazy run when they went from the USL to the MLS. And the reason why they were so successful was because they were a cohesive unit. They were coached by the same coach, the players were there, so they had a strong core, and that just allowed them to move seamlessly into the MLS. That wasn't the story for FC Cincinnati. It was like getting a wax probably. I don't know. I've never had a wax, but it feels like, the band-aid just got ripped off. Um,
Well, it's like I don't know if it's just the incompetency all of Cincinnati, not just soccer, but like every sports team does that. Like it seems like they're
the
about to be
Ohio
good.
Valley
Yeah,
ass.
yeah. Like Mike Brown, super cheap, doesn't want to pay anyone. When he finally does pay people, it's a lot of money to the point where you can't pay anyone, and like that's a whole separate argument with Mike Brown. I could do an hour long show about that. But then you look at MLB, you have an owner that has the least amount of money by a mile in MLB. And then you're expected to pay a guy a couple $100 million. Like if he straightens a few things out, maybe you're looking at one of the richer contracts in MLB history. We lost our basketball team when they were good to Kansas City, and then they eventually moved to Sacramento. Um, we had a cool minor league hockey team, and then they were just like, yeah, we don't want to exist anymore. So it's like the incompetency of upper management in sports in this town just is terrible. Like, um, I don't know. I can spend an entire show just going over that. One thing I did want to talk about is in the midst of their losing streak, one of their better players wrecked his Lamborghini on the highway.
That was after getting blasted in Boston 6-1.
And it wasn't
Brutal.
like a um, I get paid a lot of money, so I'm going to go 100 miles an hour. Like he was going under the speed limit. It was just a lot of freaking rain.
Yep.
He didn't think ahead and spun out his Lamborghini into the median.
Yeah. Before we move on from FC Cincinnati, I've been pretty critical of them so far this year. You watched the first game against Atlanta, 2-0 win. We looked great. We were moving the ball. We found space. We were finishing. Everything you'd want to see. Then we play, in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Again, we're winning those. Vibes are high. But we started dropping games, league games. And they're to teams that, you don't want to lose to. We've lost to Toronto. We damn near lost to Montreal.
They're
And
29th in the power rankings,
yeah,
by the way.
not to give any spoilers, but they're not that good. But, it was a 4-3 win. But what I will say is, Evander, he kind of got after the fans, and he says, we're trying our best. Like, we need the fans that, have our backs to be there and be there for the club and be there for the city. And then they kind of backed it up. And so, that was really promising to me. I mean, coming back, they were behind for 90, like 84 minutes. They trailed for 84 minutes. There's only 90 that get played, by the way. So, it wasn't looking good. Fans were getting irritated. Like I said, the Facebook groups, people are out for Noonan's job saying we don't have the talent. And,
Which
I
is
felt like they
crazy
really,
because
yeah.
like
I mean,
he's done a really good job. So
yeah, Evander was the MLS All Star captain. So there's just something not really jiving, and I don't quite know what it is. I'm hoping that they figure it out with time. They need to get that back line
it's
sorted out.
because not enough Cincinnatians have bought into the Apple TV
Yeah,
MLS package.
yeah. Give Messi more of that money.
When Messi makes money, he allows us to win.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It. I don't know. I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm grasping onto whatever hope that game. Even if it's a home match, scoring 4 goals, that's pretty exciting. And it was in the 94th minute, so
Yes.
there was 12 minutes of stoppage. So I didn't fib. There is 90 minutes in regulation, but with all the like switches and injuries and stuff, they tack on the time at the end, and
Keep
they
kicking the ball out of bounds for no reason.
yeah, like they scored in the death to take the lead. And then they had to it was a nail biter the rest of the game. So it was a really great game to watch. We played down a man, so we had 10 players. They had 11 with Miles Robinson's red card, as you'd mentioned. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that the players are just they're listening to what the city like the anger and the frustration, it's coming from a place of sadness.
Yeah.
And I hope that they understand that. I hope that they can relate to that on a level of, we're always going to be here for the city. We're always going to be here for the club, but you know, it's
Well,
hard to support a team that's getting 14 goals scored on them.
Cincinnati fans are a depressing lot anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude, it does not take us long to get, you know.
Like the Reds opening day, which is like the biggest thing in the city to do. It's like our thing for baseball, and that's tomorrow. They lose almost every single opening day. So if you put money on the Reds already, if you can cancel it for full price, I would. But the Red Sox are probably going to beat the Reds. And then all the fans are going to be like, oh, season's over.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know.
But if you think about it, that's a trained response because our heart has been broken
So
an
many times.
infinite amount of times.
It could be
Some
worse.
team's gonna have to challenge it.
It could
That's
be
gonna be the
worse.
reaction. Otherwise,
You could go 2 hours northeast of here. Hour and a half, I guess.
Columbus?
Yeah.
No, never.
Columbus Crew looking pretty bad. Tell us about that.
Man, so Wilfred Nancy was their head coach, tactician, a wizard. Had that team looking crispy. Their line, like just the way their formation would accordion, but still remain the same, was something that I'd never seen before. And so, I was like, how's this gonna look? How's this gonna look for them? Turns out through the first 5 games, not good, not good at all. They've won 0 games. They've drawn 1 game and lost 4 games. So, it's not off to a good start with Nancy there, or with Nancy not there.
But Nancy is jobless right now, so
He's jobless. He is jobless, which is something that we've covered in the past, and it's wild. Scotland is on another level. He had 6 games, 6 damn games that he lost, and then they're like, "We got to get this clown out of here,"
they hadn't even made it like a month in yet.
No, no, it was like, yeah,
2 or
six
3 weeks,
games,
something like that.
less than a month, and I'm like, geez, brutal, brutal.
I mean, they're accustomed to winning here in the States.
Yeah.
In Cincinnati, we're just used to losing. So
I would love to hear from the Crew fans. How you guys feeling? Like, I know we're down bad, but I think y'all might be down worse. And that's coming with love as an Ohioan.
you do know how they're going to respond to that. You already know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're gonna talk about.
They're going to be like, well, we don't like soccer anyway. Ohio State's our real sport. not
Dude,
not our real team, our real sport.
There's some Crew faithfuls, and I mean,
Yeah, I was
don't
actually
know.
talking to someone like a handful of years ago, and he was like, yeah, the good old yellow and black. And I was like, Pittsburgh Steelers? He's like, no, the Crew. I was like, oh, my bad.
That's how little soccer has made an impact, you know,
Yeah.
and until recently, but even still, even still,
I think a part of it is like, yeah, Columbus is just up the road for us, but you have a few teams that are few hours away from each other, and you have Miami and LA as rivals. Like, I don't know. I think it should be more regional based. I go over this every time we talk about MLS, but I feel like it should be more regional based and less about East Coast, West Coast. Just choose a few divisions, maybe have 3 from each conference, if you will, and have them be like football. Like you can have the rivalries be near each other, and then it makes it like a little bit better. I mean,
yeah,
proximity is the best rivalry.
yeah, absolutely, because it breeds familiarity. And
Yeah.
I just realized I misspoke on the Cruise record. They've tied 2 and lost 3, so overall they have 2 points on the table which is the second lowest. The first lowest,
Philly.
Philadelphia Union.
Philadelphia Union.
So they won the Supporters Shield last year.
Yeah.
They haven't won a game. They haven't gotten a point. They haven't even tied. So, you know, this is uncharted territory for them. I think they're probably shell shocked. Um, you know, it looks like there's something missing there. They're creating chances, but there's nothing like super promising when they do. And then they can't finish, and the games that are tight, they just can't overcome them. So, dude, I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear how the Philly fans are feeling about this because, they are typically one of the better programs from not a recruiting.
They had 12 points last year at this time.
Yeah,
Philly did.
yeah,
To put that into perspective, that would be second in the East right now behind Nashville. But does it make you feel any better that you and I have the same amount of points as Philly?
you know. What do you mean, you and I?
They have 0 points.
They do. Yeah, FC
So do we.
Cincinnati's. No,
You
we
and me
have.
as individuals.
Oh yeah. We're actually better than the entirety of the Philadelphia Union.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's still super early, right? Like anything could happen. They could shit the bed.
We
Excuse
could
my
do a
language.
show in October and look back and be like, that was probably one of our worst shows because everything is different now. Who knows?
Yep.
Nashville may end up being one of the worst teams in the league at the end of the year. Highly unlikely, but probable.
Yeah.
Because as the note says for the Philadelphia Union on MLSsoccer.com, MLS, man.
Brutal.
Yeah. Any thoughts to wind this down?
Yeah. You know, we covered Philadelphia Union, Columbus Crew. Those are big, like nightmare seasons for them, unexpected. But then there's also been some kind of, risers too. So the San Jose Earthquakes came out of the nowhere, you know, they lost some key players in the offseason, but they're 4-1-1. And they've only conceded one goal, and that was to LAFC, which, as we know, is the most dominant force right now. But I mean, that's surprising. Nashville, we talked about them a little bit. Them being tied for number two and on the table, that's interesting. They're on club record pace. 13 goals and 13 points through 5 games, and they beat Orlando 5-0. Like that's, I don't know. There's some magic going on down there. Another team that's really they've caught my eye, and they're interesting. This is Charlotte FC, who played St. Louis, who had that crazy goal, that insane volley of a goal, which it'll definitely be top 2 goals of the year.
Yeah.
By no doubt about it.
That
And when I
was
watched
like-
it happen, I was like, holy smokes.
That would be like a basketball shot from the half court line, but in the corner.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't, those long shots are just so beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
They're so beautiful to watch, and it just, the crowd goes nuts.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the non-soccer players or the European soccer fans will go, well, that's just the MLS.
Any given
Yeah.
Sunday,
But I mean, give credit where credit's due. That was a great shot. Like,
Yeah. I
I'm
think they still ended up
fairly-
losing.
yeah,
But
they did. I'm
still.
fairly new to the MLS sphere of influence. But I mean, like, I could even appreciate that. I mean, is more offense really a bad thing when you think about it?
No, I mean, that's what'll get Americans interested. That's what'll bring
Which is why they're
Americans to the
investing
table.
in like
Hmm?
strikers and attacking mids, wingers,
People
not
just
so
want to
much
see
in
goals because,
yeah,
they see a 0-0 draw, Justin. And, they're like, this is not a sport.
yeah.
Dude, you were in a grudge match for 90 plus minutes and no one scored. Like, that's a strong defensive game.
Yeah.
So there was stuff happening. You just couldn't see it.
Like I feel like strong defensive games are like the sport purists.
Yeah.
Like I'm an MLB purist. I love when there's a like maybe a one hitter between two teams going into the seventh. I'm like that is fantastic. Those pitchers are on key. Those catchers are on the same page. Good, you have in order to get that far, you have to have good defense. Um, Frustrating when it's your team doing that, but NFL get to the 2 minute warning in the fourth quarter and it's 3-0. Most people will have the game turned off long ago. I see a little furry friend in the background
Yep.
there.
Yep. She's inspecting.
Key. And then like I guess NBA and college basketball are just straight offense all the time. But when you get good defense, to the people who like that sport, they appreciate it a lot. To people who are just like, you know what, I don't have anything to do today, I'm gonna go ahead and follow this sport, and they see that, then they're like, what the heck? But
Yeah.
like, if you if you were to break down an NFL scoring to Justin in terms of college football, a 9-0 game or a 9-3 game would technically be a 0-0 game in soccer.
Yeah. I mean, if touchdowns didn't count for 7,
It would be one.
yeah, so a 14-7 game, that's a 2 to 1. So I think it's the psychology of it is there was no progress made, like nobody won. But what's interesting about soccer is you don't have to win. Like you can split the baby,
Yeah.
you know. So that's an interesting
Well,
nuance, and
people
like that does matter.
like when you're looking at MLB, or MLB is probably a bad example because they have a long season. But when you're looking at like NFL, if a team loses, they lose. If a team wins, they win. You don't really get anything in the standings
There's
for
no in
that.
between.
No. When you draw in MLS or in any league really, um, you get a point towards the table. Wins are 3, draws are 1. But all those points add up at the end of the year. That makes a difference.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
if you're 1 point out and you had 4 draws, then you probably should have just scored one more goal in that one game to get into the playoffs. You know?
and people think a draw is just nothing happened. No, a draw can feel like a loss, or a draw
Yeah.
can feel like a win, depending on what side of the line you're on.
Yeah.
And that's the nuance.
If you were to
Like
draw
that's
with
the
Philadelphia Union, you would probably look at that game and be like, "That was terrible."
yeah.
Philly would be like, "You know what? We didn't lose."
Yep. Yep. And that's the difference. That's
But
the
you can
difference.
also get a bunch where, like a draw where, like both teams are just firing off shots and the goalies just are on fire, and
Yeah.
you're just like, oh. Like you're just
Yep.
doing that the entire game, and then you're like, I don't know what to do with all this energy now.
Yeah. It's once you can see how things are playing out, the build up, the transition, that's when the game you start unlocking the game. And maybe it takes a little more effort than like the NFL, but I mean anyone newly entering a sport, it's going to look very
Yeah.
strange. Like, you know, ask any girlfriend that didn't know anything about football until you know.
Like, how many guys in at MLB games are talking to their girlfriend sitting next to them, going, "Back in the day, I used to throw a fastball, a curveball, and a changeup,"
Yep.
and then they're like, "Okay, like
Yeah,
whatever."
they're like, is that good?
Yeah.
You're like,
Um,
yeah.
but like, there's intricacies of the game that like if you played, you understand. If you watch religiously, you understand. If you watch casually, you may pick up on a couple things, but you may not understand. Like in baseball, I was a pitcher. I threw a two seam fastball, a four seam fastball, a curve, and a circle change. Uh, Two seam fastball bites towards the hand that you throw it from. So for right handed, it would go like this. Four seam kind of just goes like that.
Hmm.
Um, I had a couple of curveballs that went like that, and then they were hard to hit. But then I had a few that were just like that, and then got smacked. But
Yeah.
then circle change looks like a fastball coming in and just drops. If you put the right combination there, you're unhittable. And that's when you look at some of these pitchers and you're like, how did they throw a one hitter? I barely heard of this guy. It's because they have the right combination of their pitches going to where you don't know what pitch it's going to be. Pitch sequencing is a big thing. Yeah, scouting reports can tell you generally when they're going to throw a fastball or whatever because every pitcher has their tendencies. But like when you relate all that to soccer, there's certain moves people do that like
Yeah. Penalty kicks. Prime
penalty kicks.
example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're not going to just shoot it in the upper right corner like FIFA every single time. Like,
Or in the stands.
yeah,
Maybe the moon,
yeah,
in my case.
yeah. But like maybe one time you shoot it in the top right, another time you shoot it in the or top left, then the bottom right. Then you just shoot it right at the goalie and be like, "Good luck figuring out where I'm going to put this." You know, like the trick with that is just not ever repeating what you do.
Yeah.
Um,
Can't be predictable. It's that's like that's the stuff, dude. That's the stuff of sports that like when you can break it down to that level, that's when it really becomes interesting.
and that's to me, IQ is not something that's necessarily learned.
Yeah. Well,
Like you can learn it to a certain extent, but like when you have a high IQ in sports, you really understand both your side of it and the other player's side of it. For me, I understood what that batter was looking for. For a goalie or for penalty kicks, you understand where the goalie may get tripped up. So it's like mind games, but at the same time, it's just knowing the sport better.
yeah. Yep.
So I kind of hijacked that with a little bit of baseball talk, but
No, dude. No. Tomorrow's opening day.
yeah,
Also, Nebraska is playing
Nebraska ball.
Iowa
Yeah,
in what they're calling Cornmageddon, which I think is sweet. So I
yeah.
threw on Steph's sweatshirt for the occasion. Good luck to the Huskers.
How does it feel wearing red?
My favorite color is red. Um, I think I did have slight hesitation because I'm like, man, someone's gonna see this. They're gonna use it against me, thinking I'm a Husker fan. But during football season, it's all Wolverines, dude. Don't get it twisted. That's who we root for. But at least for tomorrow and tonight, I guess. Go Huskers.
Yeah. Um, as I said, MLB opening day. A couple of storylines I just wanted to touch on. Dodgers look like they could repeat. It seems like everybody else in the NL West, except for the Rockies, is trying to be good. Each team got a decent few players to help where they needed it. ESPN thinks the Reds are going to be trash. If they're healthy, I think they make it in. Yankees, one of those that I feel like are overrated. Some people, because there's a lot of Yankees fans out there, may attack us for that, but honestly, I do think that they're a little overrated. Mets spent a bunch of money. They have spent a lot of money over the past 5 years, and really haven't done anything with it. So we'll see if spending more money is the answer. Um, Phillies seem to be going still. Braves seem kind of out of it, which they were just in the World Series like 3 or 4 years ago. Um, but yeah, I mean, when you look 5 to, I'd say 20 in the power rankings, I feel like a lot of those teams you can have anywhere in there. The bottom 10 are just terrible, which I guess they have the Reds at 22 in the power rankings, but probably start the season off terrible. But a lot of the 5 through 20, like, yeah, just because the team's at 20 doesn't mean they can't be good. We saw a couple of St. Louis teams back in like late 2000s, early 2010s, where they just squeaked into the playoffs by chance and ended up winning a World Series. So that's really all you need to do is make the playoffs, and then you get a chance. But Dodgers bought more players to win, so we'll see how that goes. Kind of a heartbreaker, honestly, with the Dodgers, because it just seems like nobody else is allowed to win.
Yeah.
It was cool to see that series go to Game 7, and then that was one of the more interesting series I've seen in a long time last year, the World Series. So it was at least competitive. Blue Jays, it didn't seem like for a while were really going to be that great. But yet another sport that we can add to our repertoire. I will say, though, if you live in a city that has a minor league baseball team, or you live pretty close to one, go. One, they need the money. These minor league baseball teams they're like hurting for money. Two, those might be some of the best atmosphere you'll ever experience. They have like random uniforms, and like some of the team names are hilarious. Like Louisville Bats, normally the Louisville Bats, but they have these alternate unis. Um, let's see if I can find this. Um, they have alternate identities. They're called the Louisville Humidity. And it's a baseball that is sweating, but it doesn't really look like sweat. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, these alternate identity nights are going to be awesome. So that's the show. Justin has given us a calendar of things to talk about over the next few weeks, and we just knew that we were doing this tonight. So we'll see what we
Back
talk
to the
about next week.
regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, I can imagine it's probably college basketball or
Yeah. Yeah.
something. So we'll get back to that next week. In the meantime, follow us at Updog Sports Talk on pretty much anything you can find on the internet. Not an OnlyFans. We don't have OnlyFans. So if you see an ad Updog Sports Talk on OnlyFans, let us know. We'll
Or do we? Where's Justin?
Not making us money, I'll tell you that.
How do we know? He probably started an OnlyFans and he's
He is
breaking
a
it down.
finance guy, so leave it to him to embezzle from our show
Yeah.
like that. Just kidding. If that costs him a job, I'm sorry. But yeah, Midwest ramblings to end the show. So we'll just go ahead and end it. We'll see you guys next time.
Take it easy, y'all.